Hello again. Welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel. Today we're going to be watching the Cinema Snob's recently put out review for David Lynch's Dune. His tie-in with the new Dune coming out, and for a start, just gotta say, I am very familiar with David Lynch's Dune, and as a lot of people have over the years, I'm in the camp of people that really fucking love this movie. I first saw it in high school, and I fell in love with it almost immediately. To me, it's just a great, grand, epic sci-fi movie. I know a lot of people have issues with it, including David Lynch himself, but I really got into it, I really dug it, and from what I've heard, Brad really got into it too, and I'm really excited to see this because even though I love it, I do agree, it's one of those perfect films to either react or review to because there's a lot of crazy shit going on. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just really out there. And before I start, I just want to say, I know a lot of people have said that you won't get it if you haven't read the book. As for me, I had not read the book when I first saw the movie, and I was able to follow it just fine, but anyway, before we ramble on too much longer, let's get in and see what the Cinema Snob has to say about one of the most misjudged films of its era. It's no greatest American hero, but it's a pretty damn good song.
Oh yeah, I'm the right person to be reviewing this. I've never even held the book, let alone read it. But I do own a copy of Letterman's Book of Top 10 list. I'll have to resort to this whenever I get confused. Plus, I don't have the cheat sheet that was handed out to audiences during the movie's theatrical release. No, really,
I didn't need it.
There was a cheat sheet, which I'm sure was easy as hell to look at in a dark theater. See,
yeah.
This is why I'm used to watching movies with barf bags.
Seems like that'd be a problem.
It doesn't matter if I miss throwing up in the barf bag. There's already vomit on the floor of a grindhouse theater. So anyway, in David Lynch's 1984 adaptation of Dune, it's a film that is easy to follow along with if you have read the book, kind of like how Gotti is easy to follow if you
Whoa, it's not that hard to follow.
I think I can get this right. There's a psychedelic drug called the Spice that can make you live longer, and also the Duke's son Paul helps free desert people from an emperor's rule. Okay, fine, I'll use the cheat sheet, the Wikipedia synopsis, chronicling the conflict between rival families as their battle for control of the extremely harsh desert planet Arrakis, known as Dune. Got it. It's the distant future, and the Duke's son will be forced to watch bad movies.
I love MST3K shoutouts.
1965 book by Frank Herbert. They tried to get this movie off the ground since the 70s, famously by Alejandro Jodorowsky, which you can learn about in the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune.
Its own thing.
It would have been music from Pink Floyd, possibly featured Orson Welles, Salvador Dali, and Mick Jagger, but would have been around 10 hours long, so funding was dropped.
Could have been a miniseries.
It was a hugely influential production, to the point to where it inspired other sci-fi films of the 70s, despite never being made. Once the rights went to Dino De Laurentiis, David Lynch would be the right choice after Eraserhead and The Elephant Man, and Lynch was no stranger to being offered sci-fi at the time. He was offered Return of the Jedi. He hadn't read Dune beforehand, but upon doing so, he dug it and felt he could bring something to the production. He'd later regret it for a lot of reasons, one being he didn't have final cut over it, but
yeah, I can understand that.
Hell, the movie opens with one of the extra things shot for it.
A beginning is a very delicate time.
And I'm lost. So after Lynch
Only if you have a short attention span.
And the studio didn't, there was a lot of severe editing going on without his involvement, including the addition of voiceovers and deleting scenes, shooting new scenes to contain multiple scenes, and this intro where Virginia Madsen explains that it's the year 10,191, where under the rule of Shaddam, if you say his name 3 times in the mirror, bees will show up to meet you. There was a similar intro added to Zardoz to help simplify things, and even both posters use the word beyond a lot in their advertising, though this is a little more movie trailery with its use of in a world where. The intro does help. It says the spice can be used for space travel, why it's so desired, but it is kind of funny when she almost forgets some exposition.
Oh yes, I forgot to tell you.
If you consume 1 million Scovilles of spice, you get a free t-shirt and a picture on our wall. And you'll be the new Messiah of Arrakis. The music of the movie...
I thought it was handled well.
Yes, quite honestly. They didn't get Pink Floyd, but I got no problem with Toto. This version will bless the rains down in Africa. Cinematographer Freddie Francis also worked with Lynch on The Elephant Man as well. Now, the best source of the spice can be found over on planet Arrakis, but as for the others, look, we don't know much about them. Just throw up a picture of Saturn. Lots of planets probably have rings. If anything, I love this for the uniqueness of what a David Lynch blockbuster looks like. It's a big
great set design
that had a holiday release with a toy line from LJN and a Parker Brothers board game. There's 80 sets, 16 sound stages, 20,000 extras. Maybe that's why later Lynch would be like, hey, you know, just give me a man and a riding mower. I will make it awesome, and it is.
And he did.
Creatures, sure, they may look like dogs, but they're definitely aliens. It's in the Good Boy universe.
I saw that as a kid.
Thank you for joining us. You're just in time to see the Wild Bill's root beer stand rolled out at the convention. Surely there will be signs that this is a bad Star Trek convention. That there are. For the top 10 signs, you're at a bad Star Trek convention. Number 6, Starship Enterprise looks a lot like an RV wrapped in tinfoil. Well, that'll be in the Mockbuster. Jose Ferrer as Emperor Shaddam, obviously an
great choice.
Deal with original series Cenobites. And their navigator, should I be showing this? The guild leader is this close to looking like the uncut version of my E.T. the Porno review. Here's the House Atreides.
The Atreides house is building a secret army using a technique unknown to us, a technique involving sound.
Yes, take me to this synthesizer.
I have promised the Baron 5 legions of my Sardaukar terror troops.
Some of the Harkonnen delivery people of the House Atreides.
Where the hell is Rob when I need him? He knows Dune inside.
I heard he was going to make an appearance.
Sitting over here like, oh, what's the Letterman book say? Oh, I bet they're talking about rupees. Though I do like his, you didn't hear this from me, speak.
I did not say this. I am not here.
Pretend like we never met. Who did I never meet? Exactly. So the Atreides control Arrakis, and our opponents will attack the Atreides. But I love it when a very normal name is used amongst the lore speak.
The powerful Bene Gesserit sisterhood for 90 generations to produce the Kwisatz Haderach. On Caladan, Jessica.
Yes, when the House Dorptrop summons the Bergstrucks to assemble the Ruculors, it was the noble Steve who said,
it's not that nonsensical.
Later, Paul's honing in on planet incorrect aspect ratio. The hell's with the floating sex toys in this? Oh my god, it's a great Star Trek convention now. Patrick Stewart is there. And it was the debut film for Kyle MacLachlan, and the movie does have a cast of Lynch regulars. There's, of course, Jeffrey Beaumont, Big Ed, and Eraserhead himself, and Ben, goddamn, you're suave! Paul is the house heir who must practice his shield training with Gurney. The effects are pretty cool. I
like 'em.
Double and triple check what's happening in the film, but it is the visuals that make me intrigued, while I'm also hearing about Arrakis' severe worm problems.
There have been documented sightings of worms as large as 450 meters.
I have heard of this candy-colored clown they call the Sandman. In 1984, it was criticized for looking cheap despite having a big budget
What?
at the time of $40 million. And Dune is a lot of things, but between the sets, costuming, and effects, I can see the money on screen. That
Damn
feels
right.
Like a Nerf gun coated in solid gold, and this looking like an S&M punching bag.
This is a cool sequence.
Have you tried just unplugging it? Oh, more characters. Sweet. This is his pal Duncan. You'll be the Sam Neill of the movie. And now we're off. We'll
Kinda looks like him.
Submarine. Doesn't make sense to travel that way through space. But we got Jurgen Prochnow in the flick. And he's
I love this guy.
Just let him do what he wants. While Lynch did not have final cut on this, it still doesn't feel like Lynch just being a director for hire and turning in a conveyor belt movie that anyone could have done. You can still tell Lynch did it, especially with moments like this.
I will kill you.
I love
Same
that.
thing could have happened in Twin Peaks. Just swap out Sting for either David Bowie or Chris Isaac. Paul must go through more tests, this time by the Reverend Mother. Ugh, no, creepy landlady. The test is to grab me a glass of rye and a pack of Slims. Hand me the photo album of my days touring with Frank Sinatra. And put your hand in the box, sugar.
People who don't know the book probably think Phantasm ripped it off.
He's done it. He's won the audition for Phantasm. When I was a kid, I honestly saw Phantasm before I saw this. Both have this same hand box test. Then when I saw this, I was like, oh, this must be what that was referencing. Plus later when Sting drains someone's brains with his steel balls. Only someone will explain her distinct George Jefferson look. Then on planet Gaidi Prime, where their spiky punching bags will turn into a semi-truck for some reason. The film was chastised for being the Heaven's Gate of sci-fi, and, well,
Not.
Dorff is in both, so make them a double feature.
That's a
Both
bit
also
too...
got critical rebound.
That's not fair at all, in my opinion.
Dorff is, I'm guessing, one of the Harkonnens on a planet filled with steam, rafters, and anything else that looks like Chuck Norris definitely kicked a lead villain off of. Speaking of, here's Baron Harkonnen, looking like we left Red Skelton sitting in the fridge too long and the power went out, that he got a little moldy. Now bring me my henchman nephew.
Sexy one and not so sexy one.
And the Desert Rose realness. Don't stand too close to this king of pain. This character is so synonymous with Sting and his signature look for him that it's a picture of Sting on the character's wiki. Let's take a break so I can snort some spice of my own to help me focus.
Why not?
Come see us March 22nd through 24th at Days of the Dead Chicago. We'll be there.
Gotta get those promos in there.
And copies of my book to sign. Visit daysofthedead.com for tickets and more information. Hope to see you there. Welcome back, people. Okay, how are you
I don't know if
explain
it's
that,
gross or
Baron?
makes me want to taste it though.
Controls the universe.
Well, that much I'm caught
There it
up
is.
on, but is it your people's crazy space bug diet that's causing genital warts on your face? Reference the book. Top 10 signs you're eating too much. Number 1, your ears are oozing cream corn. That pretty much explains it. What more do you need? He's the villain.
And he flies.
And also, he has his own whimsical chocolate factory. And Toto, why does it look like if Devo made a music video detailing the Harvey Weinstein story? That's why we know House Atreides
If Harvey Weinstein was
the
gay.
Space pugs. They can count them as carry-ons for their flight to Arrakis. guess there aren't really any magazines to read on the flight. We'll just
It's gonna be
sit here
instantaneous.
quietly. We ran out of things to say to each other years ago. That's why we communicate with The Shining. The funniest part is watching this while my mom is here visiting. I'm watching it on the laptop, so she can only hear it. And about 40 minutes in, she turned to me and said, "There isn't enough Ritalin in the world to help me follow that."
Mama
Oh,
Snob.
so bad. Spice gives
Again,
space
it's not that hard to follow.
Either that or
Just
I'll
pay
tell you it's
attention.
the most kickin' planetarium video ever produced.
And now, one will come, the voice from the outer world.
Nice fucking model!
As a bonus, though, we'll need Virginia Madsen to come back in and explain more stuff that was probably whole scenes cut. But now...
House Atreides took control of Arrakis 63 standard days into the year 10,191.
Hey, great. Can I actually start playing the Sega CD game now? Sure, it's a desert planet, and you could drink some water, but water's out. Y'all need some squished up bugs or some cat's milk to keep you hydrated in this desert.
Whatever
And you
works.
can have this many cool voices in one movie and not have Max von Sydow in it. Or the Fremens of Arrakis could make for a good team-up, or at least give a good explanation of proper drinking and desert wear.
Perspiration passes through the first layer. The reclaimed water circulates to catch buckets. Urine and feces are processed in the thigh bags.
How is this making clothes confusing? Paul has the outfit down, though.
Your suit is fitted desert fashion. Who told you how to do that?
It seemed the proper way.
My God, you knew how to put your arms through your sleeves. You are the Messiah. Still no magazines on board, and it'd be too on the nose to play horse with no name, so awkward small talk will do this time.
Is there a relationship between the worms and the spice?
Yes, it's very graphic.
I want to hear your geek shit. Just cut to something in the middle of this. Anything!
Are you all right? Yes, I'm fine.
They each have no idea that one drew a bunny mustache on Dean, while the other had Scorsese-like eyebrows glued on, while they each slept. So they're checking in on the spice harvest, while keeping a good distance from the sandworms and the Harkonnens. Good Christ, this is a difficult episode to write for!
Skipped over David Lynch's cameo.
Getting a way easier time. Part of it, though, is that I really am sucked in by these visuals. If only they panned over just a little bit, we could also be watching Conan the Destroyer simultaneously, as it was filmed on some of the same locations around the same time. Now this is more my...
The more you know.
The Cubans from It's Alive 3 are making another appearance. Make sure they have the best maid service now. Good thinking. Some people put a black light on the sheets, but rarely think to inspect the maids. Still not done with introducing new cast members yet?
Little Linda Hunt.
Warwick Davis, what are you doing here? And is anyone actually gonna eat the spice?
Looks like taffy.
Spice?
That's drywall, dumbass.
What is it doing to me?
That's just paint chips. He feels like he's back on his home planet. Look, everything still looks like a sex toy.
Definitely for the anus.
Does it? Don't let it know there's already a hole in the seat of your pants. The answer is yes, I do need the Wi-Fi password. Linda Hunt is the sinister housekeeper, making Kyle MacLachlan want to stay somewhere normal, like the Great Northern Hotel. I think they tried killing Paul.
Sector 680, up the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, quadrant of the 9th, plus 84 circles, we've in code 4th, copy.
Will someone explain to him what a projector screen is so we can continue the meeting? We're just gonna let Paul sleep off his spiced drug trip, while physician Dean Stockwell is the traitor. Don't you worry, the tables will be turned when instead it'll be Jurgen Prochnow who betrays Stockwell and has him killed in Beverly Hills Cop 2. The shields have been disabled, which is good. Because
actors
we
who
get to
do
see
various
the most
movies.
explosions ever seen in a David Lynch film. If we're not counting the deleted scene where the Elephant Man blew up Oxford and screamed, "I am not an animal, I am God!" We saved the pug, though. Truly,
Gotta save the pug.
Lord Hapnick of the House of Lemon would have wanted, though they did capture Paul and his mother, where the acting direction is make it grosser.
I want to spit once on your head. Just some spittle in your face.
Could have been worse. Could have been pus from his cysts. At least
Or
he
jizz.
was polite about it, I guess. Let's take another break. Sure, the important character of Duncan dies, but with so much cut out, it just feels like some random guy was offed. Still,
Yeah, they have more development in the remake.
You are going to a desert planet.
Planet Dune?
I think Brad reviewed this a couple years ago with Rob, maybe. Maybe it's a different Dune ripoff.
Splitting my movie watching day into two. Good lord, where did I leave off? Why are these jolly ranchers with a gummy center fighting? Doesn't matter who dies here. Not exactly a happy day in space regardless. And while Lynch didn't do Return of the Jedi, we still get a bit of connection here, as mechanical effects expert Kit West also did effects on Return of the Jedi. And speaking of, we get a taste of what Lynch's Star Wars may have looked like. And yes, I know the book was way prior.
There's no need to fight her for me.
Yes, Luke would have used the Force to slice off Darth Vader's ear and toss it in a field. Plus, Barry Nolan, who did photographic effects, was also on Star Wars. And most importantly, Meatballs 2, which I love that movie had special
That's an alien movie I never want to go back to.
It makes more sense that effects artist Albert Whitlock also did effects on Spaceballs. That I can buy. The Baron is this close to going the full stuffed crust Pizza the Hut. It explains the Duke's sickness, too, that he also worked on the Andromeda strain.
The Tooth.
That's one of the best reactions in the whole movie. A lot better than this. I can tell you were very close.
I thought it was
It's
deep.
gonna be a long trip, but I have it on good authority that despite tragedy, it is cool to be in space. From the Home Office in Sioux City, Arrakis, top 10 cool things about being in space. Number 6, might meet moon babes. That's fairly close to what happens. I mean, there is a moon around here somewhere.
Where are my feelings? I feel for no one.
Just like in A New Hope, when Luke looked at the two suns and said, I got nothing. It's a freaking sky. So, though did that sky do this? I knew it. The Earth is flat like paper. Despite the great theme, I am shocked to see a David Lynch film without Angelo Badalamenti music playing over shots like this. Did I take spice while watching this? Only thing that can help me isn't the Dune cheat sheet, it's the list of clues on the Mulholland Drive DVD. Paul is having these waking dreams because spice is in everything on the planet, and that makes him psychic.
You carry my unborn sister in your womb.
It knows. Excellent. Donny Osmond is thrilled the birth of Marie will bring about the prophecy. Over on Planet Evil, they think they've gotten Max von Sydow by destroying his water suit and banishing him to the desert. Little do they know that either you're gonna get one of the best Sydow movies, or maybe he'll find the imprisoned Judge Dredd during his desert.
Good tie-in jokes.
At least we're caught up to Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. I think this is around when Part 1 ended.
Yeah.
No, that one's more forgettable to me, because it was sans cat milkings. It really is the best way to not attract worms. Or
Walk without rhythm.
it's all still engaging, though. I do believe the size of this thing. I kind of want to see an alternate universe if this was a hit and David Lynch did a giant monster movie. But, I mean, not everything looks perfect. And whether it's a
Some effects are a little dated, I'll
everything
admit.
here will look sinister.
Perhaps these are the ones the shed-out mates told us of. I will take the boy man.
You will not be taking the boy man. That's the great Everett McGill, the leader of the people under the dunes. He's Stilgar of the Fremen, where they can find sanctuary and join forces. Soak it in. A lot of Everett's scenes were cut, so we can.
I think they used him well in the final version.
Romance too.
I am Chani, daughter of Liet.
No, you're not. You're Ray Finkel. Let's watch it this year, though. How about some jokes?
What do you call the mouse shadow in the second moon?
We call that one Mordi.
I don't understand Fremen humor. Get to this spectacular chemistry. Oof, the Baron has better chemistry with his sauna. The important thing is that Kenneth is having fun. Seriously, this is the most
awesome.
luxurious bathhouse that space has ever seen.
I can make you a man.
They really are respecting Frankenherbert's pristine musical vision in the creation of Feyd-Rautha. Actually, he was originally supposed to be butt-ass naked, but they opted for the mankini instead.
They panicked.
It is iconic, and Kenneth likes it.
Possible incest.
Uh-oh, his erection is wearing off. It's anxious no matter where we go. I've seen enough It's Alive movies lately to know that absolutely nothing good can come out of a birthing scene in Dune. After all, I'm sure this thing was a child once too. Paul's been here for like 20 minutes. That's enough for a hardcore makeout session, and then he's
They've had the psychic link.
He who can destroy a thing controls a thing.
How is this movie simultaneously very specific and not specific enough? Look, we're gonna do some stuff so that we can get some stuff. Anyway, welcome Adla Korg, possessor of the Piragor.
He's training
Paul
them.
can teach them to properly take on a dunce cap to spare public humiliation. That's it. You use the brown noise, the voice powerful enough to destroy all Harkonnens. That goes to the theme of when a Messiah prophecy goes too far, as his name literally becomes a killing word. That I understand.
That was
Say
cool.
something confusing. That's what I'm here for.
The kiss will make a...
Yeah, I love how there's two little kids in the corner.
Okay, but will someone answer?
Everyone else is an adult, but not those two.
Standing there. The time has come to wander out to control the sandworms. Yet
I spoke too soon.
He was doing it with a giant lasso. Let's take a break. Mistake, mistake, mistake. They look so much smaller on the postcards.
Caliban is waiting for you. We must embrace the world that we are making together.
So many bad ripoffs.
I'm sure I'm mispronouncing a lot of names in this, but wouldn't be the first time. But I can say sandworms. It's good that the new one is keeping with the theme of space sex toys. Look at this new popcorn bucket they're selling. Someone's gonna get their dick stuck in that.
That looks
Too bad
awful.
we don't have creature designer Carlo Rambaldi, who can design peaceful aliens like E.T., but also a lot of trippy-ass horror or sci-fi. The dude's also worked on Possession, The Hand, and Deep Red. It really does kick into high gear in the last act, and the moment that
This
happens is definitely this shot.
This is outstanding.
Now that's the Flash Gordon De Laurentiis that I love. They've assembled 15 of their finest warriors, all looking like they're in line for a Dune cosplay contest. They saw Messiah in the plot description and thought, guess I should look like Jesus. You don't need my voice here to explain this. No. They also have the narrator come in during the action sequences.
In the 2 standard years that followed, Muad'Dib and Fremen brought spice production to a standstill.
Imagine if they did that in Heaven's Gate, for it was then the
Would have been less excruciating, probably.
It blew up. It isn't even the action that they're explaining anymore.
Paul's sister Alia matured at a frightening
Little
age.
Alicia Witt.
Her small body harbored tremendous power.
Cool, stop showing me your baby pictures during the action. Though this contains one of the best ways of what is clearly a lot of scenes and material summed up in only one line.
Paul and Johnny's love grew.
I was able to go with it.
Paul and Johnny's love grew. You'll just have to take our word for it. So anyway,
I didn't have a problem with it.
Battle against the Emperor's men. Hell, when he runs into Patrick Stewart and they realize that the other hasn't died, I buy their chemistry and that their love grew way more than he and Sean Young. It's like you can see reels of film being burned before your eyes. That's what happens when the editor says the Messiah's name. For now, he must drink the sacred water of life once his dreams cease. In this movie, that basically means we're about to see some cool shit. Because clearly, critics didn't like it because they weren't tripping balls when they went to see it. That was their problem. And see, the worms simply needed a good stoner buddy to hang with. That's why they're not attacking anymore. Just saying, I would fully get behind a 3D conversion of this. It's like I should be putting on 3D glasses
That'd be
at this
cool.
moment to see how Lisa Zane defeats Freddy Krueger and his demon worms. It truly is this that has given him the power of inspiring the troops' screaming lines.
The sleeper has awakened! Long live the fighters!
Yes, with a guitar riff like that, we are gonna get into the Arrakis Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everything is still better when the Baron comes in.
Bring in that floating fat man.
Oh, sorry, you want the latest Austin Powers movie right down the hall. What did I tell you? It's gonna get scarier when a child is born into this universe.
Get out of my mind!
Not until you tell them both who I really am.
They did a good job with this little shit.
Damned now. I know I shouldn't like this. It does so much that I dislike wholeheartedly in other films. It is exactly why this material needs to be 4+ hours or a miniseries. It packs in so much information and people and arcs and storylines and had to condense all of that into this too short of running time that it does sacrifice character. People who are important to the story are like a forgettable cameo, and it's all in this exposition jargon that might as well be an alien language. We've seen other things go wrong like this, like Shyamalan's Last Airbender or Knights of the Zodiac, and yet David Lynch's Dune is somehow still a fascinating watch that I do kinda like. Unlike some of those other movies I mentioned, this has a style that is uniquely its own, from the effects to the musical score to the grand scope of it. It's a one-of-a-kind hybrid between Blockbuster and David Lynch, who's no stranger to having movies where I may not know what's going on, but he's such a master of mood that he makes it engaging. Granted, his other films do characters better.
Definitely has a mood.
But even here, while there may be a lot of non-characters, there are still standouts among them, like Kenneth McMillan having the time of his life, and still being borderline iconic. They do make it a quotable film and even memorable when they die, like the Baron getting the titty twister of death and killing him like
I think it was more like the
finger
nipple
being sucked
yank.
out of James Bond's plane. That calls for a victory pose. This is the best Stevie Nicks concert I've ever been to. And we haven't even gotten to the badass McLaughlin versus Steen fight.
I will kill you! I will kill him! I will kill him!
With all that, I can see why the response to the film softened over time. It was a bomb upon release, which ended work on Lynch's Dune Messiah that he had already scripted. Even Lynch doesn't like talking about the flick, and on the extended cuts, he had his name removed.
Yeah.
Many critics at the time put it on their worst of list, and while I wouldn't say that it's now turned into a beloved film, it is still divisive, but the batshit insanity of it has turned it into a cult film where I do know more people who like it than don't. It's even getting a re-release before Dune Part 2 comes out. I take it the new one will have a different ending than the one they picked here, where Paul simply just brings rain to Arrakis, and well, that's it!
Greatest end credits of all time.
Okay, after all of that, I love that it ends with a cattle call of photos from the continuity department, like you would end the pilot movie for a television series. It's like I'm looking at mugshots where the cast got too drunk at the rap party and got into a bar fight. Still, the movie may be entertaining at times, but of this era of De Laurentiis sci-fi films, I do like Flash Gordon better. It's more fun, and certainly a more approachable film, though I would go see the Dune re-release in theaters if I could. However, I don't know if my son is ready for that yet. Or as it says...
Everyone's ready for Dune. Just gotta give him the chance.
Watching too much TV. Number 5, constantly murdering people in the hopes of meeting Angela Lansbury. Well, I've got some bad news for you there, son. Hello, zesty, low-cal chicken recipes? I do understand Dune now.
Who should we have one side the likes of which even God has never seen?
And that was the Cinema Snob's review of David Lynch's Dune. I enjoyed that a lot. It was a lot of fun. Brad, again, somebody didn't read the book when he saw it, but he was able to... I think I got into it a bit more than he did. And, well, yeah, they do jam-pack a lot of stuff. I don't feel as much of the characters that they were completely sacrificed, and while a few of them are cameos, I feel like they're still well-used cameos. The ones that I think were improved on for the remake were definitely like the Duncan character and Max von Sydow's character, who was now a woman. But the running joke of how he couldn't follow it, I mean, not everybody can follow it, but again, I feel like if you just stay focused, pay attention, I think it's pretty easy to get into. And the jokes that stood out to me the most throughout, well, first, not much of a joke, but the cheat sheet, yeah, that was a real thing. The Dune toys, which I don't know if I've ever heard of that, but if I had, I'd forgotten about it. Yep, there is great set design, and the Gildy Navigator, yeah, it is possibly pornographic looking. Wouldn't put it past David Lynch. The effects are cool. I think the Heaven's Gate comparison is just fucking bullshit, because I've seen Heaven's Gate and it was an unbearable slog to get through. Not Dune. I was with it all the way to the very end. The Seeker looking like a sex toy, I could see that. The random pugs are funny, and I like the little brief appearance by Mama Snob. That's fun. Like Brad's mom, she hasn't appeared a lot in recent years, but I know she was a big shape shifter for Brad and how he views movies. Yeah, and yeah, Sting being iconic with his blue fucking G-string. I could tell they would never have gotten a PG-13 if they had gone the original route, but hey, you can at least try. I can totally understand feeling like the romance part of it is non-existent, because they just kind of jump into it, but honestly, I didn't have a hard time rolling with it, because he had the visions of her before, and well, maybe they're not as emotional as far as chemistry goes. Paul becomes kind of Moses-like, how he speaks, and Sean Young's way of speaking is kind of similar, so I was able to get it, and they do look very good together. They're very attractive. They were very young, attractive people at the time. And the film transitions, yeah, they do have a very burning quality to them. I do like how he says at the end that even though it has a lot of tropes, shit that he doesn't like and other stuff, David Lynch's style makes it unique. And I've seen this movie with a few other people over the years, and even if they don't completely understand it, they do get into it, and I feel like there's no denying the 1984 Dune is a goddamn epic. So is the 2021 movie, and hopefully the new Part 2 one is also epic. I'm not quite ready, because like I did a Fresh Thoughts review on the new Dune when it came out, but I'm not ready to say it's better than the Lynch film until I've seen Part 2. I do think it's good, but I'm not quite ready to say that, because I found the new Baron to be a bit underwhelming, while Kenneth McMillan was just incredible. And yeah, that's about it. I enjoyed this. Gave me a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into, especially if you have a different viewpoint than the Cinema Snob or various other film goers, but I'm always interested to hear what people have to say. Like, even if they don't like it, it's always fascinating to hear them. And that's about it. I will see you again, hopefully soon.